I decided to tell the council what I knew. The Order of the Purge Blades had made a mistake, a very bad mistake, and it is my belief that we had a duty to tell the truth. We killed an innocent man. That man was the father of Yessica. I vowed to myself to tell her the truth afterwards. I entered the keep. The leader of my team, Stig, was already there. He had the responsibility to tell the council that the Order had destroyed the werewolf that had killed the doctor. Stig had finished explaining to the council that the local butcher, Alan, was the culprit. I bowed in respect to the council. Stig looked at me as if to say, "What the hell are you doing?" I told the council we had made a terrible mistake. Alan was innocent of the murder. The inventory log proves he was out of town procuring spices for his shop. Stig was silently fuming. I gave them the log to read and they concluded I was telling the truth. They gave the Order an additional week to look for the werewolf, or they will get someone else. Stig asked them if they would keep the incident with Alan a secret until the Order has dealt with the real werewolf. They agreed and told us to leave. Outside, Stig was furious. He told me I was a mongrel and that I embarrassed not only him but the entire Order. He stormed off in anger. Later that night, I met up with Yessica at the pub. I had to tell her the truth. I didn't want to darken those bright eyes of hers, but I had no choice. I told her that the Purge Blades had killed her father Alan on suspicion of being a werewolf. Wisely, I didn't tell her I fired a fatal shot. She was distraught, but she didn't cry. She just stared into the distance and said that there was no justice in the world. I offered her another cup of wine. She refused and asked to be left alone. I obliged. Back at HQ, I prayed to the Five. I prayed that they would forgive the Order for our mistakes and help comfort Yessica. Robert appeared behind me, not in a good mood. He said we had to talk. He accused me of being a traitor, that Leader Stig had confirmed that the inventory was fake. It was that point where I realized that Stig had just sold me out. I told Robert that it's all true, that Stig is lying to him, using his emotions against him. Robert said he is not being emotional, and preferred it when he didn't have to think about whether someone was guilty or innocent, and just wanted to kill werewolves without thinking too much about it. I knew it was hopeless to change his mind, no matter what evidence or sense I could offer. He didn't want to believe the Order was anything other than perfect warriors of good. He said Stig ordered my death and attacked. I had no choice but to defend myself, and after a quick scuffle, I struck him down. Robert could be aggressive, but he didn't deserve to be manipulated in trying to kill me by Stig. Bastard! Stig was my mentor, my boss, and he betrayed me. How could he do this? Before I could deal with that problem, I had to get out and leave. HQ was not safe anymore. I rented a bed at an inn just outside Specure. The innkeeper gave me a knowingly smile. Before I could get some sleep, however, a figure entered my room. It was the innkeeper. She introduced herself as Sabine. She told me she knew I was a Purge Blade and had something for me. She gave me a book, saying it was dropped by a former tenant and it would be useful to me. It was Stig's diary. I read it and immediately wished I hadn't. In it, Stig had detailed the last several weeks since we first arrived in town. He wrote that we had difficulties finding the werewolf, and so he hatched a plan. If he couldn't find a werewolf in time, he would create one. He spent a day trying to find a stranger to be his werewolf. Finally, out of desperation, he chose the easiest target, the local butcher, Alan. Who would argue that someone who cuts meat professionally will be a flesh-eating werewolf? I put the book down. I was completely devastated. Not only did we kill an innocent man, but he had in fact known he was innocent and framed him. That begged the question though, was the Purge Blades corrupt from the very beginning?